God. Ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast, episode number 20-4. We're your hosts. My name is Rob Nichols.
I'm Pernell, and it's funny because I think Rob is getting this weird part where Rob's also like, what episode are we on?
I'm starting to forget. We might have to restart it at some point.
No!
Or do some kind of different numbering system.
No, I challenge listeners at this point. Can you think of a game that's had more than 20 worlds? Because I can't, but I'm wondering if it exists.
Is it like new Super Mario Brothers had a bunch of worlds?
I don't think it has 20. New Super Mario Brothers.
Got a lot, though.
Also, which one? There's like this shouldn't even be called new anymore.
The newer,
a ton of them.
Neo.
It's the worst naming convention ever.
It really is. It started
New
out awesome.
3DS XL plus Light Accent Core plus R.
Alpha. Roman candle cancel.
So that means we're not the worst.
No, ours is the best.
Okay.
We're going to have the longest game ever.
Well, we are a video game music podcast. We listen to great video game music from all consoles and all generations, and we talk about it, and we enjoy each other's company. And this week, we have a guest on the show.
A returning awesome guest.
Yes.
Heyo.
Hey, it is composer and friend of the show, Mitchell Wong. How are you?
I'm good. It's pretty exciting because my game is coming out in 1 week.
Yes. Tell us about the game. Tell us about the new game.
Actually, worth asking before, is it 1 week from when this episode hits, or is it 1 week from right now?
Sorry, yeah. It comes out the 17th of October.
Yes.
So this week.
This Thursday. Check it out. It's called Kine. Can you tell us about the game and what role did you play with it?
So Kine is a 3D narrative puzzle game, and it's about these three little robot cubes that are actually also instruments. And so they dream of one day making it big and famous in the world of jazz. And so it's about their climb to try and become famous and just get noticed. And it's told through the story of puzzles. There's a bit of romance. There's a lot of weird technical. Oh yeah, so it's a puzzle game, but it's also a music themed puzzle game. And I'm the composer and mostly the sound designer of.
I'm looking forward to it, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be that guy, or I was that guy. I was like, maybe they'll pass a review code over if I ask very nicely. And Mitchell was like, there you go. So
Yeah, easy.
so I was like, well, done deal. So I'm actually looking very forward to digging into it, because from the moment you brought it up to us, I looked it up. I was like, this looks pretty awesome. I was like, I just looked at the trailer, and there was like images of like one of the characters, like, I guess, I'm not sure if it was like a snare, but he basically stretched across a chasm with it and then pulled his full body across.
Right, it was like
stacking up.
It was like a trombone can like slide out and reach across something and pick something up. And you are a brass player.
Yeah, so I play bass trombone myself, and the three instruments are trombone, accordion, and drums. So my aunt's ex-boyfriend lent me, he gave me their drum set and then he wanted it back, but I used some of that. It sounded terrible. I had to borrow an accordion from a friend of someone I didn't know super well, but conveniently I had my own trombone. And that was really fun, actually recording all these little doots and all these weird little sound effects for when you like roll but also fall off and
I love it.
Bump into walls. So
that's awesome. How big was the team that's worked on this? So I know, you did the music and some of the sound effects, but like how like I know there's artists and programmers. Like how large is the group?
Okay, so the game was largely made by one person for a long time. Her name is Gwen Frey, and she's she's an animator who was formerly at The Molasses Flood, and before that was formerly at Irrational before it dissolved. And she was making this game by herself for a long time. And then I came onto the project, and then she also got some grant money from Epic, and that allowed her to hire some like outsourced teams. And so I think there's maybe a handful of other people that have like contributed to the game. There's another guy who helped do some of under the hood stuff for the audio, and he did a couple of sound effects. So it's like 90% one person, however much percent you want to give me, and then the rest percent is like maybe 5 people or plus. I actually don't know. And I guess there's also translation, so
right.
how many people does that include?
As far as I'm concerned, and I think Rob would agree, though, music, even though the music isn't the programming, the music is a ridiculously major component of a game being released. That's just how it is.
For us. Yeah,
that's why this podcast exists, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Kid you not, there have totally been games where it's like, this game has been highly acclaimed, and I put it into my console and I started playing. This music sucks, or it's non-existent, and I just can't play it. Like it just because I've had friends say, "Turn it off," or I just listen to music over the game. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Oh, it hurts my soul.
Yeah, right. It's like the music is a part of the experience. To listen to some other music instead of the music in the game, it's a disservice to the product.
It's true.
I won't do it.
So I compete in Smash Bros. A lot, and a lot of people like to be in the zone, and they don't want to talk to other people, and so they put on headphones, and that's like totally understandable. I am a pretty social person when I play games, and so I have to kind of restrain myself from like just shutting up when I compete. But some people are like, "Oh yeah, I don't care about the music in game. I'll just listen to my own stuff." I'm just like,
that just makes you want to win more.
When I played a lot of Street Fighter, I played a lot of technical characters where I needed the audio for cues to do certain combos and stuff. But like I'm like you, like I get really like winning is important, but I'm more into like the crowd and like having fun and people yelling and screaming at each other. So I never want to have headphones on when I played with other people. So
I'm a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Like I love the in-game music to death, but when I'm in a crowd or with other people, I'm like with Mitchell saying, I want to talk.
Yes.
If I'm doing well, you're going to know it. Not in a jerk face way, but more in a, oh my God, the move, it worked. You didn't think it would, but it did. So it was awesome.
We're just describing the show where it's like, we love talking and we love music.
Yeah, though admittedly, there's the other side of that coin too, where it's like someone's like giving me giving me a schooling. And I'm sitting there looking at him, I was like, oh, you jerk. Oh, you jerk. Like, everyone knows it. It's a weird feeling, but it's entertaining.
My pet peeve is when people talk about your game while it's happening in like the back, and maybe the person you're playing with, who is not a regular, has a group of homies, and they're all like trying to gas him up. And I'm like, oh, can you not commentate my set in front of me, please?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one thing that I don't like. But otherwise, If it's someone that I'm like even skill wise, then it's like, oh, if I lost, it was a close set.
Sure.
If it's someone who's way better than me, I lost, and I'm not sad because they're just way better than me. And sometimes I lose against people who I should beat, but I'm just a really inconsistent player, actually.
Yeah, that's where I was too.
It's why I gave up Puzzle Fighter for like 15 years.
Well, like it's an inconsistent game.
It really is.
I was recently at a big DDR tournament. It was
goodness.
It was called Stamina Con, and it's all marathon based. And when I got there, I didn't qualify to play until much, much later in the evening. And I was just watching these people play through their sets. And they're like hour long. I mean, these are hour long sets, like nonstop.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and lay some context on this because he's not going to mention this, I don't think. How dedicated is this guy? His set was at 11 p.m.
Yeah, I went back at 11. I usually play at like 11 a.m., 10 a.m. at home. But I was watching the people play, and they get so focused that there's a crowd of like 10, 15 people around them all shouting the lyrics to these Eurobeat songs.
Oh, God.
Like, Night of Fire! And like the dude's just super in the zone. I'm like, I don't know if I could handle that level of concentration. But the way that everyone was like super like supportive and like really cheering each other on, I guess it was less competitive and more like, it is more like a marathon where you just want to complete, you want to finish and feel good about that.
Yeah, because it's not as much of a 1v1 as it is like person doing their best, right?
It is. Even when tournaments are segmented or they're put together as a 1v1, I've never understood that because you're only going to do as good as you can. You can't affect the other player.
Well, speedrunning's like that too, but sometimes you can do like safer things. Like, oh, like this person missed this really hard skip, or this person, like, can they catch up? And then like, oh, and it can be pretty exciting, I think, like that. But of course, because it's everyone playing their own game, and speedrunning in general is like a singular thing, and so there's no like cursing the opponent out.
One thing that happens in fighting games and also happens in rhythm games, like competitively, is when you try to do inputs louder than your opponent, so that you throw off their rhythm. So like maybe you do extra steps when you're not supposed to to throw off the rhythm of
That's
your
an
opponent.
interesting
That's
play.
wild.
And if you ever seen, it's called like Evo moment number 37. So it's
Justin Wong versus Daigo.
Wait, he did that?
Well, if they don't talk about it, because if you watch the clip, like it gets you super excited because Daigo is essentially baiting out Justin Wong to do his super, but he parries the full super.
Oh, that was
and
37.
clutches out the match. But while he's doing while Daigo is doing the parrying, which is very, very rhythm based and very, very tight timing, Justin Wong has his hand on the stick, and he's just swinging it around as loud as he can to throw off the timing of Daigo.
Interesting. So that's something that doesn't really carry over for some of the videos online because it just shows the actual gameplay.
Which is really exciting. And also the fact that they're going back and forth, it's because Daigo isn't just trying to, protect himself. He's trying to move forward at the exact same time that Justin Wong's going to do the super because he knows he's going to do the super no matter what. And
it makes me think.
Still, it's really, really good skill, but
It's just there's something I find really interesting in regards to like just competing and playing in that level where like you guys were talking earlier about how people hype you up, but it's kind of a personal thing, so it doesn't always really connect. Like I can definitely say with rhythm games, it seems like it helps. Like Rob and I have been going to like the arcade again recently, playing like Pump It Up and stuff. It's become my weight loss tool, and it works. I've dropped 30 freaking pounds.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, I never saw that coming. It's like it's just falling off.
Top.
Yeah, up high. Yeah, like but like a weekend or two ago, we went up there together to play, and Rob is infinitely better at these games than I am. It's not even a debate. Now, as we were playing two players, which I never really get to do, he was picking songs that I typically can't do, and I'm like, I guess I'll pick like a level 9. He's like, no, pick 12. I'm like, are you daft? I can't even beat 10s. By the end of that day, I was beating 12s and 13s.
Yeah, you need someone to like push you. It's like having a gym buddy,
Yeah, and then the thing about it is like I went up there again yesterday at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I saw you post about that.
And played by myself, and I couldn't. I mean, I still was beating songs, but I wasn't doing as well as having a friend there being like, "Oh, come on, you can do it. Just knock it out." So there's something to be said, like just that level of motivation.
It really, really is. Yeah.
Video games are a communal experience. That's how I feel, at least.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, community, competition, and music.
And Pringles.
And Pringles. Open the can of Pringles.
Pop.
That's what mini games within other games are all about.
How in the world did that become your segue?
Because I think about Mario Party, it's all about competing against each other. I think about mini games, it's all about like, oh, we're having fun playing a game, but now I want to just shoot this basketball better than you for some reason.
I regret not picking a track from Mario Party. Hopefully one of you guys did.
I initially picked a track from Mario Party, but it's actually kind of really short. So I decided to pick music that was a little longer. But there are some killer tracks. I was driving to a networking event, and I just listened to the Mario Party 1 soundtrack and just bopping my head to like, oh man, I haven't heard this song in years.
And it gives you memories too, right? Like it just fills you up with those like triumphant sessions. Oh man, Grab Bag and Mario Party 1 was a friendship ruiner. Yes, because like in later Mario parties, they made it so that there was like a very like you could gain or lose 10 coins and that was pretty much the gist of it.
I hate that thing.
But in Mario Party 1, you could lose a ton of money. And Grab Bag was notorious. You would get a Bowser suit, and everyone else would just beat up Bowser and knock your money out of you. And there was no limit to how much they could steal. It was a game changer, and it would make people get thrown out of my dorm room.
I love Mario Party 1, but it is definitely the meanest and most sadistic. They're like the 1v3 paddle boat one is mean. The tug of rope one, which is the same mini game, but without the paddle boat. It's just there was a time that I went to a party and my friends and I were playing some Mario Party, and we were spinning the joystick with our palms, and then my friend saw me the next day and he said, "Hey, look," and there's still just a big purple circle in his hand.
Yeah,
I showed him mine, and we're like, this game.
Like, you remember what they did, right? Like Nintendo released those special gloves.
They've released gloves.
They had to release special gloves.
I didn't know that.
No,
there's a lawsuit.
Holy wow! These going way back further, the Atari 5200. They had the joystick from the 2600 was a standard sticky up stick with a button on the side. But when they went to the 5200, they made a stick that was kind of on it was kind of on like a little paddle situation where it was kind of rotated.
Okay.
And so many of the games on 5200 were like track and field and stuff like that, where you had to like, how fast can you rotate the stick? And those things broke immediately.
You weren't designed for that.
So, like, if you go to like a classic game swap or something, sure, you can find an Atari 5200 system pretty easily, pretty cheaply. But to find some controllers, you'll never find them.
See, I guess we technically just traded information because you didn't know about the glove. We didn't know about this Atari situation.
Yeah, I got really into the Atari when I was in high school, and I don't know why. I guess I should have been playing PlayStation, but instead I was playing Demon Attack and Asteroids.
Hey, it was cheaper.
You're still playing Atari and PlayStation 1. That's N64 comparable, right?
Yeah.
A little bit around that time. I think PS1 came out in like 95.
Yeah, but all my friends are playing like Final Fantasy 7 and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was around 97.
97, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, like sophomore year.
I remember my brother went to college, and he was so anxious to get 7 that he had me mail it down to him in North Carolina. Wow. I was like, oh, well, here you go.
I picked up 7 when I was in high school, and it was still before it was on Steam and before a lot of digital distribution, but I found it at a flea market for like $40 in perfect condition. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get this because it's like $80 online, lowest price. And I had $32. I was like, no. My friend spotted me $8, and it was still one of the best purchases I made, and I still have it. It's such good condition. Yeah,
Final Fantasy 7. I give that game a lot of grief for personal reasons, but at the end of the day, it was fantastic. One for its time. It blew me out of the water.
I mean, like, we had Dragon Warrior in the States like way, way, way long ago, but I feel like it really brought JRPGs in the States, in the West, into the mainstream.
Aside from Final Fantasy VII, the only RPG my brother ever played or was willing to try was Lunar 1. So, and I don't even know why he played Lunar 1. No. Lunar Silver Star?
I don't know, Lunar.
Let's get this guy.
Oh, man, we gotta talk!
If there's like some like obscure like RPG, not obscure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
A game called Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, which apparently was on the PSP, so no one played it. And so I'm working through that now.
This guy.
I like this guy.
That's an amazing soundtrack.
I like this guy.
Well,
check this out. So, I'm playing through Trails in the Sky second chapter right now.
Hey.
Yeah, see? And I'm playing through Trails of Cold Steel right now. I'm doing them both at the exact same time. Yeah, because it's weird. So Trails of Cold Steel comes 2 years after Trails of the Sky second chapter. So they're like separate but connected. Like
it's in a different country, right? Same universe, but
so
in a different country.
Trying to like play ahead of the spoilers.
Kinda. Yeah, so one takes place in a country called Liberal. That's the Sky games, and Erebonia is where the Cold Steel games take place.
Oh, no way.
And
I didn't even know it was in Erebonia. And now I know. I was like, I know that's it. That's a different place. That guy's from there.
Yeah. And then apparently when Trails of Cold Steel 4 eventually comes out, all the characters are going to come together because...
No way.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you why, because it's a ridiculously big reveal, but when you beat first chapter, Trails in the Sky, your ears are going to you're going to freak out, because that is probably one of the best plot twists in any JRPG I've ever seen.
I didn't even know there was a plot twist.
Oh,
this game is cozy. This is the coziest RPG I've ever played.
It's going to change.
Oh, boy.
There's a twist.
I'm enjoying this coziness, too. It's like, oh, it's not a world-ending cataclysm. It's just like, hey... gotta find my dad.
I gotta tell you.
But I'm gonna help all these people along the way.
Well, that's one thing I can tell you. The Falcom RPG set, Ys aside, honestly, though I still love Ys to death. They are really good at world building in their games. So all these Trails games, even though world stakes sometimes come into play, it almost doesn't feel like it half the time, because you're just kind of... They want you to get comfortable with the world and all the towns and the people, so that when stuff does start happening, you're like, oh man, but I like this town. They have the best pierogies at that one shop, and then I can't buy them anymore because it's barred off. You feel more about it than you do in typical games, where it's like there's like 5 townspeople and 2 beds in one house.
Yes. So there are these huge towns, and there are all these nooks and crannies, and instinctively you think there are going to be treasure chests with like loot. Nope. there's nothing there. They exist because that's what a city would look like, and there are all these people that just have their own lives outside of your story. And like this game, I was telling someone why, like part of why I love One Piece so much is that there's all this world around the main characters, and there's only so much that they see, but there's all these people who have their own things, and they move forward with their stories and their dreams and their events at the like parallel to the main characters. And it's just so cool to see all this stuff happening in the world around you, and it just makes it feel more alive.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Well, we should get started with some music.
Yes, because
So we could talk about trails
forever.
All right. I know we have some
video games.
I know. We have some listeners that are way into trails too, so we can back that. But so we're gonna start with some music from that Mitchell has chosen. So, do you have the tracks that you chose in front of you?
Not right now. I don't.
Oh, I could pick a random one.
I was thinking Melee because that. Oh my gosh.
Okay. This is "Break the Targets" from Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Welcome back. You're listening to Break the Targets from the game Super Smash Bros. Melee, composed potentially by one of these individuals, Hirokazu Ando, Shogo Sakai, and Tadashi Ikegami. So, this was picked by Mitchell, and so glad you did, because this and the Multi-Man Melee from Melee are my jams. They are my jams. So this is taking me back. But out of curiosity, what is it about this track that takes you back?
I have spent hours and hours and hours just doing Break the Targets and event battles and home run contests, and I especially love Break the Targets where they had these specialized courses designed for each individual character. I learned Young Link could wall kick because of that, and I just remember there are times that I'd have like bad starts and I just reset over and over and over again. And this song just is so grooving that it kept me motivated and kept me going. And when I went to Brawl, I just don't like the tracks for the home run contest or the Break the Targets as much. And restarting into those over and over was like way less satisfying. It kind of wore me down faster. But this song and just grinding out those challenges and waiting for that a new record, it's euphoric.
Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic game, and I love the fact that you kind of touched on it when you mentioned Link, but how the game, they designed the Break the Targets levels for each individual character. They each had their own stage, and they built them so that you had to use pretty much every single thing the character could do, and in some ways you'd be using them in methods that the battles won't ever have you utilize. It's very intuitive and fun. It just showed just how much care and interest, how much love they put into designing this game. God, I love this game. I love this mode.
I should try it again now that I know how to wave dash. I wonder how different Luigi's is.
Oh, mercy!
Wave dashing. That's a technique that I employed in the Marvel Versus series, like Marvel Capcom. I think 3.
It was available in that too.
Well, it's the idea of you're able to dash, but you're also able to cancel the dash by like crouching. Mm-hmm. But then you can dash right out of the crouch. So that means that you can after you dash, you'd have like frames where he slows down before you can dash again. But you can cancel it to crouching. So you go dash, crouch, dash, crouch, dash, crouch, and just do it super, super fast.
This does make me think of a question, though, because I think this comes up a lot when we talk about another game, which is going to tie into this. So, wave dashing is a technique that was created because folks who were really into the game learned about this programming. I don't want to call it, flaw or error, just a thing they discovered that allowed them to exploit it and play and change their gameplay style.
They exploited the way the game was designed. Yeah.
The devs knew about it before the game launched, but they never got rid of it because I don't think they saw a reason to. And oh my god, does it define so much of competitive play right now.
And that's what makes me think of the question, because there's another game that I used to love a lot called Mario Kart DS. Which
that's one of the best ones.
Yes,
it
is.
I love that one.
But then there was one quote unquote flaw to it, and that is the concept of snaking, which was a way. Basically, it was a exploit method that was utilized in regards to how you would get the blue sparks to actually get speed bursts.
So you get speed bursts by doing a drift, by like turning in a direction and then oversteering, like initial D. But you had these such long straightaways that you could just start your drift, back and forth to keep it going. That used to kill my fingers, but I did it anyway because it's like I wanted to do better.
And that's what posed the question I'm posing.
Yeah.
So do you feel that when stuff like that, the wave dash and the snaking, and this is a general opinion because there's no right answer to be honest, do you feel as though those discoveries ultimately enhance the meta play, or do you think they detract from it? Because ultimately, once they're discovered, in order to really compete, you have to master those things too, or you'll fall out of place.
It changes if the game's competitive. What do you think, Mitchell?
So for racing games, I feel like that's it's kind of different for 1v1s. I personally think that these sort of mechanics are totally fine, and they're like for F-Zero GX, a lot of racing games have snaking as a mechanic. I think CTR has it, and of course Mario Kart DS, but I know that the F-Zero GX has a category for no snaking.
Really?
Yeah, because it hurts. It's impressive. And then you see what the snaking version looks like, and you're like, what is this? And this must be what speed is, apparently.
Yeah, because honestly, that game is hard enough to stay on the track without doing anything special.
Yeah. So the thing is that with Melee, I feel like that these sort of mechanics that provide a lot of depth they're totally fine because they're not mandatory in order to have a baseline level of experience. Like you don't have to snake in order to play Mario Kart. Like I don't do that because I'm significantly more casual. But with the competitive level, if there's techniques that enhance the gameplay and it just keeps pushing, Melee's 18 years old and it's still going strong. I love that game.
Yes.
And
I feel, especially with the 1v1 stuff, if you discover something before somebody else, like you're just going to do it. And then that becomes the new meta. And then you have to be able to do that. When P-linking or priority linking was discovered in Street Fighter 4, maybe it wasn't discovered probably before that, but it was started to be like really, really used. Like you had to learn that technique just to get anywhere ahead. And it only gave you like 1 or 2 frames extra to input the next combo move.
But every frame counts.
Every frame counts. And like
those one frame links.
Oh God, I know. Don't get me started. My main was Abel, and his bread and butter was a 1 frame link, and so I would just spend hours just in training mode, just doing that combo over and over again until it was just in my brain. But I could never pull it off consistently in a competitive state because I would just be like excited to be there and playing around people, and then of course my brain's not going to function correctly.
That's me, but with every fighting game technique.
It's tough. So let's keep up the competitive idea here, the competitive thread, and we're going to play some music from the mini games of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. This is Bonus Stage 1. This is in the arcade, came out in the Xbox 360, PS3, and PS4 as the online edition, and it's composed by Hideki Okugawa. And we're back. You're listening to Bonus Stage 1 from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. It's in the arcade and then the online edition on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and 4, composed by Hideki Okugawa, which could easily be mistaken for Terminator X of Public Enemy, because, man, this is some dirty, dirty breakbeat.
Rob dropped some heavy lyrics over this
Yeah, I
thing, actually.
started.
So he was... I think he's dead on. I can't even question it.
Yeah, boy!
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
No!
I'll leave Flava Flav out of this, but
No, I honestly, Flavor Flav works. It's awesome.
no, so we were talking about high school earlier. I got really, really into, not really into rap music, but like really into sampling, and that's when I started DJing. And my friend, Chris, he was really big into searching for records for break beats and samples and stuff. And so what we would do is we would listen to old Public Enemy albums and then go and try to find the actual samples, and then we would recreate the songs.
Really?
Yeah, we would sample their specific sections and then loop them and then recreate them again. And then when we would be done, we'd be like, that's the song. I guess we could have done something original, but we spent the whole afternoon doing this instead.
But there's something to be said about, I think, if you are able to deconstruct and reconstruct, I think it ultimately it teaches you more, so that if you do decide to go on and create your own stuff, I think it helps you for like constructing your own stuff as well.
Yeah, I did learn a lot about, it's mainly about old samplers that I'll never touch again in like turntables, but because now everything's I can use software. But Mitchell, with this game it's completed now, like what are some things that you've learned along the way that maybe you wish you knew ahead of time?
So for composing for Kine, let's see. The thing about Kine is that the bass line is constant throughout the entire game. Whether you're in different levels, the trombone levels, the drum levels, accordion, or in your main menu, the bass line is constant. And so I had to then also, when you progress through the levels, new layers get added on top. So as the puzzles become more complex, so does the music. But because it all is over one bass line, it's this one mega modular song. And sometimes it's really hard to write new things that without just being redundant, or also because you have to have something happening throughout the entire stem. You can't just have big gaps in any of the stems, otherwise no one would notice when a new one would come in. So how do I make things not muddy and all sorts of stuff? But one thing that I did learn along the way is that sometimes you can be redundant intentionally, and then it's leitmotifs, and now you got some narrative kind of stuff going on.
I like that, where it's like you're like this section, you repeated it a few times, but now that's like kind of like a secondary like little verse that can call back to the player, right?
Yeah, so the accordion and the trombone go on a date, and so I actually have a stem from the accordion.
Like joke at a bar.
Yeah, no, I love that.
They have a little boat ride together. It's really cute. But the accordion has a stem that's in that level, and the trombone has a stem that's in that level. And they're played by different instruments, but maybe you can recognize that it's like, that's the saxophone line from the trombones, and that is the other instrument that I forgot.
I am genuinely looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I was just expecting to be like, here's a level, and here's a level, almost like Catherine's Towers without the other stuff outside of the towers.
No, but
there's like a full-on story going on.
Yeah, and you're really
too.
using. So does it primarily use music as its language?
There's little dialogue that happens before each level, and actually kind of during the levels sometimes too. But I think that to me, like, the music it's sort of being unfurled as the levels progress. And I think that it's used as a narrative tool. I don't want to get too much into certain things, but I definitely want to give a talk about this at some point.
I'll be really interested in that. But let's keep the show moving along, because we got some more mini games.
Or mega game. No, I don't have
mega games.
All of mine are quite smooth.
I think what's funny is like sometimes these mini games can like overtake what the actual game is,
And I think this might be an example of that, because it did exactly that to me, at least for a grand period of time. So this track is from the game Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus, and the track title is called Magical Girl Alisa, and it is composed by Takahiro Unisuga. Welcome back. So you're listening to Magical Girl Alisa from the game Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus for the PlayStation 4, composed by Takahiro Unisuga. This track is crack. I'm just gonna say it.
This track is amazing.
It's so crisp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that keyboard comes in, I'm like, and then it just takes off with the guitar. I was like, oh, whoa.
When it got to that chorus with the when it went on to like the 4/4, I'm like, yes, give me more. But then when it cuts back to the initial verse, it just makes me smile.
It's a feel good track.
Why would you do
right?
anything else in this game but listen to this song?
Kind of what happens. So Tokyo Xanadu is an action RPG that Falcom put out, and it's one of those games where, you know, high schoolers discover superpowers of some sort, and they go to wacky other world to fight big baddies. But during the day, you're a high schooler who does private actions and whatever. So
Sounds like Persona.
it's pretty much what Falcom's take on Persona was, honestly. That's why
interesting.
I always looked at it as like, this is what if Falcom made Persona? It would play like this. So just like how in Persona you'd have the private actions and such, you just social links and that, and this is just private actions. And there's other places you can go around the city, such as like stores or restaurants or whatever. But there's an arcade, a Sega arcade, believe it or not, that you can walk into. And there's a bunch of games set up, including a Puyo Puyo, which I'm hoping you can unlock to play fully later. But there's a game called Magical Girl Alisa, which is based off of a anime hero, think Sailor Venus, in that world. And the game is just whack-a-mole. It's whack-a-mole. But you actually run around with the character who's carrying a mallet, and she has to whack the evil space mole aliens
that's funny.
and knock them back in their holes. So there's like an easy, medium, hard, and I want to say very hard mode that you can unlock and progress through. And I became so obsessed with this track that from the moment I found this game, I beat the entire thing in one sitting. I just kept coming back.
In one sitting?
One sitting. I was like, I gotta keep doing it. Gotta keep doing
How
it.
long is this game?
Well, it's just a mini game, mind you, but I think it took me like an hour and a half or so.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that you beat the entire RPG
Oh,
in
heavens.
a single sitting.
Oh, heavens, no.
So like this music was composed specifically for just the little mini game.
Just for this
That's
mini
amazing.
game.
That's so good.
That's
So good.
I think Unisuga knew.
But it does.
This is
kinda-
going to be the game you play.
It does
when
kind
you
of
come to
sound
the
like
arcade.
like a superhero anime theme song though.
Yeah.
It has that feel to it. I think like the keyboard kind of singing or voice to it has like that kind of like.
And there was
Powerful.
a particular added weirdness to it, too, because, again, it was whack-a-mole, so every time one of the aliens would come out of one of the holes, it would always make this sound like, where is she? Where is she? And you're like, what? You're like, wham, knock it down. And as you get like 5, I was like, where is she? Where is she? Where is it? Whack, 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 whack. And it's just the music plus the alien sound plus the hammer whacking sound. It just created this cacophony of enjoyment. You just felt like you had to keep doing it. And when one session was done, like, I got to go back. I got to get a higher score. I got to get the perfect score. It's so stupid good. And it should not be because it's literally whack-a-mole. But I was in it.
when a minigame pulls you in that hard, that's when you know that that the game is good.
Like they could have sold that on its own, but like you probably wouldn't have bought it because like it's whack-a-mole. It's not worth $40, but no, it is.
Mm-hmm. Like I'll tell you another one. I didn't pick a track from it, but we talked about the game earlier. Final Fantasy VII snowboarding minigame did that to me too.
Oh man,
played it to death. Did every course. Like this is so fun.
Oh dang! I didn't even know there was more than one course.
Mm-hmm. Multiple courses. Like I loved that minigame. It was quality.
Okay, I've spent more hours on the Final Fantasy X minigame than I ever planned on doing.
Oh, Blitzball?
On Blitzball.
That's not a minigame. That's a hell game.
I have 2 more games left, Purnell. 2 more.
See,
and then I'm freed from my prison.
That minigame was pretty much what made me say Waka's benched forever. Unless an actual event requires him. He's benched.
He's such a good character in the game.
Was such a poor hobby.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like, what's funny is that, like his character, he wears like the Blitzball, sports outfit through the whole game. Mm-hmm. But he's like one of the worst players.
Is he?
You trade him right away.
Wow! Oh my!
That's
goodness.
like this.
I have not played. I got 8, 9, and 10, and I haven't started them yet because I still have to play Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Before I play Chrono Trigger, I have to play.
You made the right decision.
Yeah,
you made the right decision.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is a beautiful game, but 10 is like I really believe it's one of my favorite like RPGs. I think it's one of the best, despite any of its flaws. It's just so beautiful.
I'm just laughing at you trading Waka from the start. They should be they should remake the game for the PS6. And when it just has like this little like side event that they just program in specifically for when you trade Waka away.
Yeah.
He's like, seriously, bro?
Just drop them all.
Still have John DiMaggio do the voice though, so they can just have like that. Yeah. He'll just
John DiMaggio is the voice actor of Waka?
Yep.
No, I'll never. Oh god, when I eventually play that game, I'm just gonna hear it.
Now just imagine. Waka doesn't. He sounds like you can tell it's him, but he's not his typical characters. He's playing like a very laid back, relaxed guy. Now imagine him getting traded, and all of a sudden he goes Bender on you, and he's just like, "What is this kid?"
Actually, when you trade him, he actually has like a little saying. He goes like, "Well, I guess it's time to retire now." I'm like, you suck, Waka.
So they should put him on the other team. You have to play against him.
When you get to it, or if you ever do get to it, and you're interested in the mini game, don't even bother with it until like the post game, because it's impossible to finish.
Not until you get check shot.
Boy.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult and esoteric, and it's like learning to play a video game about football.
Where they pull your teeth with tweezers.
Where you don't know anything about football, and you're kind of figuring out as you go.
And they hit you in the hand with a hammer every inning.
It's not that bad. It's okay. It's pretty bad. All right, so we're on to our next mini game. This one's from Mitchell. Do you know what you're going to pick next?
Oh, I think I was going to pick the song that was from Kirby 64.
Yes, this is Taking Battle. Yeah, Taking Battle. Or Talking
Or
Battle.
it might be called Bumper Crop Bump or something. Let me double check that.
Bumper crop.
Well, anyway, this is from. We'll get this loaded up. This is from Kirby 64: The Crystal Shards, composed by Jun Ishikawa. We're listening to Bumper Crop Bump from Kirby 64: The Crystal Shards, for the Nintendo 64, composed by Jun Ishikawa. And I don't know anything about Kirby 64, so why don't
really?
why don't you enlighten me about what this minigame is?
Okay, so first, I gotta say that Kirby 64 is my main primary one, and that one is actually kind of different because instead of having specific powers like Parasol and Beam, it has combinations. So you would have, you would combine like Fire and Spike, and you would get like Fire Arrows, or you could do Fire and Cutter, and you get a Fire Sword. And it had this really cool combination system that I was a really big fan of. The minigames, there were 3 of them, and they're all actually really fun. I was really a big fan of the checker one, but I think the music of this one in particular it also syncs up really hard because at some point I think after it loops, when it gets into the da 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 da, the tree that you're collecting fruit from shakes really hard, and then it just drops a bunch of fruit and bombs, and so then it becomes like kind of a scramble mode as you try and nudge past your opponents and like swipe in to get the fruit at the last second. It's actually really fun.
I genuinely feel like just deep down, just from our last episode and this episode, we have a lot in common with music gaming taste. So I've played darn near every Kirby game. The only one I'm probably lacking is like Planet Robobot right now. And I agree, Kirby 64, as far as like gameplay mechanics, next to possibly Canvas Crust, but definitely in regards to just Kirby's powers, is my favorite one. And my favorite power, of course, is electric plus ice is refrigerator Kirby.
Yes.
I love
so
that.
cool.
That's a clever idea.
It's so awesome. I don't know why it didn't take off. It made it cool for like solving the puzzles to get the secret items because you had to get the right combination of powers, and they gave you enough clues that you weren't scrambling to figure out what they wanted you to do. It was just...
I hand drew a chart that ranked. I like drew little pictures of like what each power was, and I would rank how good they were. Like Fire Ice 1, that power sucks. It's terrible. It does nothing. I have no idea if it can even hurt people because all it does is that you melt. It's dumb.
Enemies
you know what's
trip
great?
over you.
Rock and Spike. That's a drill. It's Gurren Lagann. You go really fast. You can shoot it as a projectile. It just grinds through every enemy in the way. That power is sick.
It was just Kirby was at his most powerful in that game.
Like a meta tier list of all like the powers he could do in the game.
But just imagine you turn on a refrigerator, you barf food at enemies and it kills them. Then you turn back into Kirby and eat the food you just puked.
It heals you
to heal yourself.
To heal yourself.
I gave it a 10 because if you heal yourself in that, like you'll never die theoretically. It's probably not actually a 10, but.
It should.
To me, as a kid, it was.
No, it totally deserves that 10.
I know it's a cartoony game, but man, that is not sitting well with me.
Kirby in general, like I have a buddy, listener Brian Pitt. He has. I thought about it, but he really brought to my attention just how just messed up the Kirby concept, the franchise is, as far as like plots go and the villains.
It's
like
wild.
Like he posted like a meme the other day where it was like Kirby games be like this, and it was like Kirby's lying out enjoying the sun and eating a cake, and then the next image is like the death of all universes is coming to Dreamland in the form
Cosmic
of a
Devourer.
God.
There's a guy named Wooly Madden who has a YouTube channel called Wooly Versus, and he has a couple of videos that are dedicated to reading descriptions of the bosses in like this sort of Dark Souls-esque way, and it's like kind of like old god mythos style, and
awesome.
It's like dark. And then Kirby just like, it's just another day in Dreamland. You eat food, you destroy cosmic devourers and universe-crushing enemies, and then you go back and you eat more food with your friends. That's Kirby.
It's so amazing. Like the adventure starts, King Day to Day just stole Kirby's strawberry cake. You better go get it back. It's like, what is this? Why does this exist?
Now go stop the devourer of worlds.
Yes, with the rainbow drop sword.
The one who cannot be named and drives everyone insane.
Except Kirby, because Kirby's already insane because he's very hungry.
All right, you know what drives me insane?
Kirby.
Ice hockey. American ice hockey. No, Canadian ice hockey. This is Blades of Steel for the NES, Purnell. Yes. Blades of Steel. This is composed by Shinya Sakamoto, Katsuki Muraoka, Atsushi Fujio, and Kiyohiro Sada, one of those Konami All-Stars. This is the intermission music, not the fighting game.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, this is the
I know where you're going with this.
Intermission from Blades of Steel for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
so good.
That was Intermission from Blades of Steel for the Nintendo Entertainment System, composed by Shinya Sakamoto, Kazuki Muraoka, Atsushi Fujio, and Kiyohiro Sada. Wow, that just takes me back to being really young.
I haven't heard that track in years.
Learning how to
Clicked
play
immediately.
hockey with my brother, and then halfway through the game, watching all the little men like do the little like little circles around the ice, and then all of a sudden, like a banner flies across the screen, and it was Gradius, right?
The first boss in Gradius 1.
It was like an advertisement for Gradius, and suddenly the controller, you could actually play the first boss from Gradius 1 in the middle of Blades of Steel hockey.
That's insane.
It was so cool.
It was really cool. You could win, and if you won, don't get me wrong, you didn't like unlock stage 2 or anything, but it was still cool to be like, what if?
I tried so hard because this song is really short. So like if you can complete it, you don't win anything. Nothing happens.
It just feels good.
It just feels really good.
But back then we were kids, and there was playground rumors and stuff. So there was always that thing where it's like, if you beat that boss 7 times in a row, you'll actually unlock the full Gradius game in Blades of Steel.
We'd fight over the controller to be like, I want to play it now. I want to play it now. But like,
is this Virtua Fighter in the Yakuza series?
Exactly that same logic where you're like, you can unlock a game within a game.
Well, Blades of Steel was really interesting in that way, where like there was the main hockey game, but there was also, if you bumped into each other enough, you could fight. And it wasn't just like in ice hockey where they would just kind of rumble around and someone would end up the loser. Like it would turn into like a Street Fighter style. You had like health bars.
You had to throw punches.
You had to throw punches at each other. And so like that was its own little mini game. And then this was its own little mini game, even through the intermission.
It was always fun playing it with my brother because it would always start out with the in-game fighting, and then it would become the out-of-game fighting, and then someone's getting in punishment.
That was carried over into NHL 94 through 98 on the Sega Genesis, because you can get into fights in that game too. And I think it was 94, 95, you can actually knock people out of the game, and like they'd have like a head injury, and like little pools of blood would come out on the ice.
There's something to be said about it.
Classic. My brother knew exactly how to hit people in the game just right to knock my whole team out. It was like,
my gosh,
you ever watch
dark.
What was that classic 80s sci-fi movie where it was like a roller derby?
Tungsten?
No, it was like a roller derby, but it was like in the future and people would die.
Skate Bros.
Yeah, I think it was Skate Bros.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I can absolutely a picture about this. I can just totally mentally imagine
was roller games,
80s sci-fi futuristic but super 80s roller derby combat battle dome thing.
All right, you know what?
He's looking it up.
Rollerball. It was called Rollerball.
Rollerball?
Yes.
From the 70s?
It was 1975. They made a remake in the late 90s or early 2000s with with LL Cool J, because of course he was in it. And this, I'm talking about rollerball instead of ice hockey. So it's like a futuristic sport. Everyone's super into it. It's kind of like football, but it takes place on like a roller derby rink, and there's people on motorcycles, and they're pulling people on their skates to go faster and faster, and they have like spikes and stuff on their hands.
Well, that sounds dangerous.
And then eventually a team learns that they could actually take out other players from other teams to win, so that instead of just scoring points,
so they learn to use the spikes to actually hurt people.
Yeah, not that they learn it, but like it becomes like the evil team. They just start taking out the other teams, and so it's all about like this guy is kind of going through the ranks. And
this premise just sounds so weird. It's like, we give you all the tools to just be violent, and it becomes a discovery that you can knock people out.
Well, it's all about like, I mean, it's the 70s and 80s. So everyone's like, oh my God, it's humanity becoming the worst of itself, and so at the end of the game, it's just 2 players left on the field, and they have the giant steel ball they use to score, and they're just pounding on each other on the rink, and he's about to smash the other guy's head in, and he looks up and he sees all of the people cheering him on, and I think he just puts the ball away, and like and credits roll.
He's like, "What have we become?"
Of course, there's probably like maybe he kills him. I don't know.
Is this movie good?
No.
No. That's a good response. No.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, it came out in 75. I must have watched it when I was, I don't know, 7 or 8, maybe 6. Like it was like on like a freebie HBO thing, like when we were real little. I should not have watched it when I was that young. But
that's how it was back in the 80s. Everybody watched movies they shouldn't have.
I remember trying to watch it again, but I think it was in my 20s, and it was after a night of hanging out with friends,
playing rollerball.
and so not the whole plot didn't really stick in my brain. But yeah. Anyway, go watch Rollerball. It's
You hear this mess? Is it a
Should
good movie? No. Go watch Rollerball.
No,
like, you just told him it was terrible.
No, if you want to watch a really good cheesy, but like a good cheesy campy sci-fi like 70s 80s movies, you should watch Robot Jocks, because that's really interesting. That takes place in the future where people pilot giant mecha robots
with bikes.
But no, like huge robots, like Gundam style robots.
Now, do the Gundams pull people on skates?
No, but they use it to settle disputes, government disputes in the future. There's no more wars. There's just giant robot fights.
See, now this I like it, admit. Like that, along with, what was it? There was an anime I watched a ways back. It has like I don't like there's like subconcept I don't like about, but otherwise it's a great call, like No Game, No Life or something like that.
Oh man, that anime.
It's an amazing concept. Like, it's the same logic. Like, it's an RPG world, but all the battles are done by playing games. Like, there's no actual violence. It's just games. And
the laws of physics prevent violence, and all disputes must be resolved through games by like the law of the universe that they exist in. It's trashy because it's an isekai, and they just lean into that trashiness so hard. But I'm like, oh man, how is he going to figure out how to get around these games? Because he can't read minds, but the other people can.
Yes.
Why is there no season 2?
Exactly. We get along so well.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you should watch it. Like, it's like Mitchell said, though. There's some stuff to skirt around. You're like, I don't know about that part. But the games themselves eclipse all of it, because, like Mitchell said, like there's different races and species in the world, so they have abilities that allow them to cheat at the games half the time. And the main characters are just humans. And it's like, all right, well, I'm playing chess, but in this game, that guy can read his mind and know what moves he's going to make. So how do you beat a guy that knows every move you're going to make in chess? He figures out how to do it.
The rule also, because there's like 10 rules of the land, and one of them is if you're caught cheating, you are disqualified. But that doesn't stop people from cheating. So that's part of the game. There's also a movie that's actually pretty good. And like, I realized that I'm secretly isekai trash, where I'm like, these are all the same things. This guy falls into another world, collects a bunch of girls, blah, 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 save the universe. And then like, I watched ReZero. I watched this. I watched Danmachi, which is not an isekai, but feels like one. And I'm just like, oh man, what's going to happen? I'm so excited. And I'm like, oh man.
I still got to watch ReZero. But I will say the two that always stuck with me was, back in the day, I watched El Hazard. That was probably my first one.
Oh, El Hazard.
Yeah. And then there's a current one. The most recent one I really got into was, what was that darn show? Freaking with the girl Megumi. You probably know what I'm talking about. Like Megumi and Darkness. And it's going to come.
Oh, you're talking about the comedy one.
Yes.
What is Konosuba?
Yeah, Konosuba. Love that show. It goes hard on the RPG shows, because the character actually does level up. The characters all actually level up, and the main character actually has like his level up stat card. It's like, okay, he goes to the guilds like, you have one stat, but you can allocate it to a skill. He's like, I need to figure out what skill I want to learn. He learns like thief. Cause like he's not really good at fighting or anything. He's like, I just become a thief character. So he's like, I learned to steal. It's a fantastic show. Again, it has
like a satire version of isekai.
Total satire.
Because he's surrounded by all these girls, but he like low-key hates them all. And he's also kind of a trash person. So.
They're actually all like, it's almost like, I don't want to say Always Sunny in a sense, because they do ultimately try to help people.
You keep saying isekai. What's isekai?
Oh, isekai means in another world. And
okay.
It's this genre of anime and light novel that guy who's usually just like shut in, plays video games, blah, 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 dies, gets hit by a truck or whatever. And then he wakes up in this other world, and he's like this destined hero, and he has to go save this new world. And then like he meets all of these girls, and they introduce like the world, and here's like the cool rules, and here's how magic works, and blah, blah, blah. And they go on and on and on. And it's like, it's been done over and over and over. And somehow I still get suckered into it.
And then Konosuba flips it, because he's not destined. Yeah. He's just some dude who's like sleeping in a stable.
It's like the comic book origin story movie that we've been getting over and over again. Like we'll still enjoy it. Mm-hmm. It's still there, but maybe not as trashy.
It just hits all the notes. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
All right. So
ReZero is like the deconstruction, and Konosuba is like the satire version, because ReZero is like dark sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, you wake up in another world, but here are all of these problems that you might actually face.
And that's also the one where he keeps dying, right?
What?
Is that also the one where he keeps dying and resurrecting?
Yes, and it's awful. And he's like, he like throws up when he like keeps respawning because it's terrible.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because like there's like a point where he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know how to like help people at some point. So he has like sort of like this defeatist attitude, because it's like Majora's Mask, and at some point there's like that futility existential crisis where you're like, what's the point of this all? Like, what am I gonna do? I can't do anything. Everything's just gonna keep resetting over and over. So I thought that was actually really cool and interesting.
Yeah, I've decided I'm starting ReZero this weekend.
Yeah?
Yes. The episodes are waiting for me. Yeah, I've been convinced. Like, I already wanted to watch it. I just never sat and started it. It's going to happen now. It's going to be done.
Konosuba I liked, but it just made me want to watch Danmachi, where it's like, I like this, but I just want more Danmachi. And they finally came out with a season 2, so now I have to get around and watching that.
Yes.
All right, so we're on to your final track.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Also, we got to give Rob credit where credit's due. This guy is really good at keeping people on track when everybody else has gone off the rails.
I'm watching like my timer go across. I'm like, all right. I'm not like counting the minutes, but I'm like,
because honestly, it's bad enough when I do it, but you have 2 people doing it today. You're in double trouble.
That's all right. No, this is good because like when we connect well with our guests, which we almost always do, I feel like it's the listeners who win.
But also we win because this is a fantastic conversation.
It makes for good podcasting. All right. So what you got?
So I have to pick this track because for all the tracks I did have as an option for this, I feel like this is the next one that I resonate the most with. So I'm just going to pick it. This is from the game Super Monkey Ball on the Nintendo GameCube. Track title is Monkey Target. And the composer, I don't know which one specifically, so I'm going to name all the ones I saw. Hidenori Shoji, Sakai Osumi, and Haruyoshi Tomita. Welcome back. You're listening to Monkey Target from the game Super Monkey Ball on the Nintendo GameCube, composed by Hidenori Shoji, Sakai Osumi, and Haruyoshi Tomita. And as we were talking about during the break, I think we pretty much all agreed that Monkey Target, in many ways, kind of eclipses the actual Monkey Ball game as far as just like how addictive it was and how often it got played. Like my friend circle back then, we used to all work at KB Toys, and we'd all like clock out and go to my one friend's house like 30 minutes down the road, and we'd all just grab a bunch of beverages and sit down and just play Monkey Target ad nauseum, just trash talking each other too, because it was such an amazing game. And all it is a monkey and a ball, and it's Monkey Ball. rolling down a hill, propelling off the edge, and then the ball can separate and become a hang glider, and you're trying to land on a target where there are a number of zones that are worth various points. That's literally the entire game. And you're listening to this specific track the entire time. And it's addictive. It's so good.
Is it set up to be like a versus thing, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like 4 people curling simultaneously.
Love it. Oh, it's simultaneous.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you can actually knock other people off.
bump people.
This is amazing. Like this, and that's why I'm glad, because apparently I'm not sure if they're going to bring this minigame back. Monkey Ball's actually coming back.
I would love
at
to
the
see
end of
this.
October.
A, like fighting game, like tournaments.
Bring back Banana Blitz though. That's the not good one.
Oh, I never got to play Banana Bliss, but it sounds like I dodged a bullet.
It's not. That game has a ton. Okay, I have so many things to say. First, my friend and I will sometimes just go, "Hey man, remember we beat Super Monkey Ball 2?" Or like, I'll tell my grandkids about it. So that game is so hard, sharing. But it's so good. But Banana Blitz is just very mediocre. There's so many things I don't like it. There's jumping, there's waggle, there's the music at times is kind of really kind of exhausting. There's like 50 minigames. One of them is a first-person shooter, which is actually really fun, but is kind of limited. There's a trombone minigame.
What?
It's terrible.
Trombone!
I think they do have the Target one, though. That might be back, but frankly, I don't remember because that game, I usually try and beat games that I own. I never beat that one.
Well, maybe we'll luck out, because since it's going to be on the Switch, I mean, on one hand, while there is potential for the waggle via the Joy-Cons, I have a feeling they may be more inclined to pull it out because they'll be thinking about people playing it in handheld mode too.
Right.
So,
do you think that a lot of the newer Switch games have kind of scaled back on the motion control?
For sure.
Definitely. I feel like that's what happens with all of Nintendo's quote unquote gimmicks. They'll come up with a system. They'll have these features that you can apply to your games, and maybe like the first wave of games, let's say over the course of 2 months or 3 months of release, maybe 50% of them will use that mechanic or that new item, and then the rest will just how do we make this as typical as possible to not detract players?
Right.
And
besides 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild, what has motion controls?
Super Mario Party, but that's Nintendo first party, so it almost doesn't count.
Oh, Odyssey.
That's actually really fun, though.
Odyssey had something you could do with it.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, with Odyssey, I don't think it was enough to make you go, "Oh crap, you need." Because I think you can even turn it off in Odyssey. Yeah, but it was to throw the hat or something.
Yeah, I was playing with my nieces, and you can play that kind of cooperatively. One person plays as the hat, and we had fun doing that. But that wasn't if I was trying to really tear through the game or through some of the later levels, we would never have gotten through it.
A part of me almost wants to take the Switch out right now and just go down the list and be no motion, no motion, no motion. But there's very little.
Well, it's about to get
very rare.
Very, very emotional with the.
Oh God, that was terrible.
Thank you, everybody.
That was terrible.
That's for these
I
guys.
I just realized that was a pun. It was that bad.
We love you, Rob.
I quit. No, this
has been the Pixels podcast.
Well, it's time to go. Oh, I guess I can go to bed early now. No, so. The new Wii Fit, not the Wii Fit. Yeah, it's the Fit controller, right?
Are you talking about the one that's coming out in a week or two?
Ring Fit.
The game.
Ringu Fit.
Mitchell will appreciate this possibly. Let's get Mitchell's take on it. So, I'm in this painful hiatus where I'm not buying any new games for the month of October. Now, people sometimes say, but you get review games. Doesn't matter. It's not about the games. It's the activity of buying the game is the trick.
Right.
So, but there is one game I want to just say screw it. I want to buy it. That is Ring Fit Adventure, which is coming out in about a week or two. Specifically because I've gotten heavily into fitness and trying to get in better shape. Yeah. And I think that is just one level more into just getting into shape. It's another activity I can do at home if I want to drive up to the arcade and burn those calories. Do you think it's cheating to buy it in October, or should I wait till November 1st?
Okay, I totally understand that sentiment. I'm right now debating about the Humble Monthly with Crash Bandicoot and Spyro trilogies, and I'm that's a really good deal, but money and time. So, does the fitness justify the purchase?
I'm saying you gotta find like a Best Buy that has it hooked up that you can try it first, because you don't know if it's something that you're gonna want to continue to do.
I think that's a smart idea.
Because like you're doing like boxing and the kickboxing and pump it up and other stuff. So you might be like, well, this is not really doing anything for me.
That's a good point.
And also, you got to clean your living room.
That is, I've already done that.
Oh, you have? You've been in preparation?
Not so much in preparation, just in I need to do something like this door living room.
Okay. Not that you have a dirty house. I'm just saying that like you have that really big coffee table.
Yeah, think less dirty home and more. This guy has a lot of video games, and he doesn't want any of them to be up in the library because he wants to have access to all of them right now. So it's just like, here's a shelf with games. Pick that one, play it, and put it on the coffee table. That kind of home.
It looks exciting. I'm so suspect of any motion controls, especially of any motion controls. I feel like things need to be buttons. I'm suspect of touch controls. I like to have buttons. You know, things I can turn, dials, like, you know,
doodads,
things you can put your
diodes.
palm on a joystick and spin it around until you get blisters on your hands.
I have to say though, besides the Joy-Con drifting issue, Joy-Cons are really incredible. I got my Switch used with like 3 games, and one of them was 1-2 Switch, which I would have never purchased anyways. But there's one that's like, how many marbles are in this box? And you hold your Switch and you like tilt it around and you try and feel how many balls there are in it. And it is honestly like really accurate haptic feedback.
Oh, interesting.
Really? Because I've never gotten to play 1-2 Switch, so this is interesting to hear.
Yeah, that one minigame in particular is like, wow, this feels really good, and it actually feels like you're holding a ball. You're holding a box that has balls in it. Like, okay, that's 1, 2, 3. I think that's 4. Because it feels like there's actually that. So that itself is really impressive, and it's part of why the Joy-Cons are so expensive. That's the haptic feedback, and I'm not sure about the motion controls.
Well, that's interesting.
Honestly, fine.
I feel like if they continue to improve these things, that just means that in the future, developers can have a more accessibility could be more on the front of their minds because the technology is there for the players. So.
The downside of
if you're vision impaired or if you're hearing impaired, like all of these things that we all take for granted to play, like to have the full experience of just normal video games that we play today, like having all these other different things you can do, not just to experience the same game, but to experience other games. I think it's a good thing.
I think therein lies the challenge, though, because, I mean, get your guys' take on it, too, but I feel like one of the big issues that seems to come about and why people don't, like, really go all in like they can is because a lot of developers just kind of find themselves going, we need to make this game as portable as possible, not as in handheld carry, but more like transferable to other medium or other systems to maximize their buck. And also, I think there's just this fear of alienating potential customers, not in the sense of like what you're discussing where it's like, well, this isn't handy capable. It's more like, well, we want this game to play exactly like every other game they're used to, so it's not a learning curve to pick up the mechanics.
Yeah, but there's always going to be smaller developers, smaller groups that are going to be interested in doing things.
And for those smaller groups, we love you.
Exactly, and you know, like the developers of Kind and stuff like that. The tools that are available now are so much more available now than they have been in the past. That anybody can really sit down and get to work and build something great. And I think that's a great time that we're living in, despite all of some of the not so great things that are being developed right now too. I think despite that, we live in a great world.
Oh yeah. Like there's a lot of great games.
It's happened to music ages ago, like with recording becoming easily available.
And for the record, this goes to you two and anyone listening right now. If you can think of a game that breaks the mold, I'll say, and does something that you don't think any other game does, whether it be mechanically or accessibly or whatever, kick that word over this way, because those are ones I typically try to gravitate towards. I play a lot of games, but I really like to look for games that do something really different or try to do something beyond the normal scope of things.
I just finished Outer Wilds. Holy crap.
Outer Wilds?
The one that is not the Outer Worlds.
That's right. There's one coming out this month. Yeah, the Outer Wilds. Okay. So
that game is nuts. Also, Obra Dinn. That game is also nuts.
You talked about this.
I see one
last
thing.
Week.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get the review code. That went to someone else, but I'm probably going to buy it. That's the return of Obra Dinn, right? It's coming to the Switch in 2 weeks, I think.
Yes. Captain Robert Witherell for Smash.
Once I learn who that is, I may agree with you.
He's the first person that you ever. He's the person that you learn who he is immediately. Oberdin is. I think about the game still. I played it months ago. I still think about that game.
I could definitely say listener Rebecca will be happy to hear that because she went on about this game too. Yeah, and if Anthony listens, he also loved it.
I played it over 4 nights. The first 2 nights, I finished seeing everything, and the next 2 nights were me just wandering through everything, just trying to piece together what happened to this person. I haven't seen him in hours. Where did he go?
Oh, so there's like an outer game there where it's like you can just kind of steamroll to get to the end, or you can just kind of do more exploration and learn more about the world and the characters?
So the point of the game is that you have to figure out what happened to each individual. If they, you have to figure out who they are, how they died, if they died, and who killed them, if someone killed them. Because essentially the point of the Oberdin is that this ship disappeared a while ago, and it just suddenly kind of came back, and so you are an insurance claims person, which is like the weirdest thing.
Wow.
Why is that interesting? But what happens is that you have this pocket watch that brings you to the moment that the person died, and you get a freeze frame, and you can walk around in this area and see what is happening in this exact instant the person dies. And you can you like once you see everything, you are able to leave, but you need to there's like better outcomes essentially. Like, you can like get a really bad ending if you only I figured out 12 people when I was able to leave, and I had 40 more people to actually concrete figure out what happened to them. And because the game has only so much information is concrete. There's only so much stuff that's like, this person was called by name by this other person, so I actually know who they are. But some things you just have to infer by their uniforms, by their jobs and their locations, by their clothing. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
This sounds like potential crack too.
Yeah, you just fall down the rabbit hole with this thing, and I love the style of it too. Right? It's all like the art style is really different.
It's like black and whitish.
Yeah, I was trying to remember.
I just like this thought of being like a junior detective going into this crime scene, like saying, okay, this guy's on the ground and he looks like he might have gotten shot. He fell at this angle from the looks of it. Chances are the bullet came from, you're like turning your character like, over there! You point, and you're like just really trying to piece this entire scene together from a still. An explorable still. Good. It's going to happen. See, I have a list of games I'm writing for when October is over.
I want to get this horrible. Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe are you going to binge in November?
I don't think I will. I think what's going to ultimately happen is when the month ends, I'll have this list of titles, and some will probably just fall off the side. Like, did I really want that? Now that the newness is going, did I care? I think Oberdin is definitely going to be on that. I'm still getting this list.
You are getting that game. I'm telling you right now.
That, and I think I want Indivisible, though I'm debating if I want to wait for it.
I was a backer.
Oh, you were a backer?
I was a backer, so I haven't started it yet, because one time, there are a couple of characters that they didn't make it to launch, and I'm like, I'm finishing a couple of games, so I might as well just take my time. I'm playing Sexy Brutale right now, which is kind of a weird name for a game, but Mark Brown actually talks about clockwork games, and Outer Wilds is like that. I don't want to get too much into it, but Outer Wilds is a game where there's a big, it's kind of like Majora's Mask, and things rewind time. So Sexy Brutale is like that too, where stuff happens between these 12 hours, and you have to go around and see what happens and piece things together, kind of.
You just, I think it's hilarious that you unintentionally just put me onto a genre of game that one I didn't know existed, but also
I'm hooked.
Always wanted, because there's a game I've always liked called Ephemeral Fantasia. Most people hate it, and for very good reason, because it was very poorly developed in a lot of ways. But the game's core is a character in an RPG world who is trapped in a 3-day loop a la Groundhog Day, and at the end of the loop, he can fight the final boss, and if he can win, he can break the loop, but he usually doesn't and gets kicked back. So throughout the game, you're trying to find characters you can recruit and help. You got to learn their schedules and where the character may die at, so you can save them, keep them from dying. This one character's like an alcoholic, so you got to keep her from drinking.
That's a concept that sounds so much my jam.
Yes, it clicked.
But you said it was bad?
Well,
It was
it's bad critically acclaimed. As far as the critics are concerned, it was bad. Like, I found enjoyment in
less
it.
than 50%.
Yeah, like, it's one of those games where, like, I feel like at this point you can probably get it for so cheap that it wouldn't even hurt you just to dabble in it and
but
see what
it
you
sounds
think.
like it really caught your imagination.
Oh, it hit me like a sack of juicy
Guess what,
oranges.
Purnell? It's $90 on
Wait.
Amazon.
Are you serious? I wonder, maybe it has like a weird like aftermarket collector's value or something. Because back in the day, no one.
I think you started it. I think you told people about it.
Oh,
You told enough people about it, and you drove up the price.
nuts.
Yeah, maybe they also just didn't like make enough copies. Because there are some things that there's so much of it that you see all the time. But this game, you've mentioned like 3 games I've never heard about before, and I'm always like, whoa, what's that? And I look into it, I'm like, oh man, that looks long, but I want to play it.
That's my life. It's like I want to play that game. I'll squeeze it into my schedule somewhere.
Time is that one commodity that you just can't
Get back.
get back.
So I think it's funny. Like this is the last thing. Cause I know you want to move to the next segment.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So like, I get a lot of grief from a lot of like friends where like, you ever see that TV show? No. You ever watch that movie? No. 95% of movies I've never seen that people typically have seen. Same for TV. But at the same time, I could easily go, you ever played this video game? No. Well, there you go. All my time went to those games. That's why I never see TV shows or movies because I'm trying to get there's too many good games, but I want to play them all.
I'm a slow gamer too, and I get every drop of value out of a game.
Yeah,
I usually try and get completionist kind of things.
Search every pot, alchemize every formula.
Yeah.
Except
You
Assassin's Creed 1. Stupid flags.
Climb that cathedral.
That's helped me break my kind of problem.
If you want another
so
incentive to
bad.
break it, go play Star Ocean 4 and then throw your controller against the wall when you realize
that
how many formulas you're supposed to make.
Is that until the end of time or something like that? Or
that was the third one, right?
Yeah, Till the End of Time is the third game. The fourth one was like the last hope. And there's like 300 or 400 formulas in that game. Most of them are useless.
And really, it was called Abandon Hope.
I was so scared you're going to say 300 or 400 hours.
Oh, no. Well, if you're going for those formulas, it might. But I will say one of the best plot devices, as stupidly as it was getting sucked into a portal and ending up in 1950s America and accidentally causing, Area 51 to be detonated by a nuclear device and destroying the Earth.
What the heck is Star Ocean?
It's one of the best, WTF plot points ever in a game. And this happens within, the first 15 hours. And it gives, the main character, system shock.
The Star Ocean games are all over the place individually, but together, they don't really join together, right?
No,
Not
1
really.
and 2 are actually they're a little loosely connected.
They're
There's
really
a whole
loosely,
Star Federation,
but
or
on their
whatever.
own, bonkers.
Yes. Till the end of time, everything's a video game.
Yeah, that's so strange. All right, so it is a video game.
Yeah, and the main plot device was
Yeah,
that
right.
everyone's trapped in a video game.
Yeah, I borrowed that from you ages ago. I just was like, what? Am I
Blade
doing?
of Fury.
All right, so the track is being turned down, and we're in the part of the show that we call the bonus round.
Bonus round.
Perfect.
Fury.
Okay, so the bonus round is the part of the show where we play covers and remixes and arrangements based on our theme, but sometimes we just take this as an opportunity just to play more awesome tracks that because we just have more than we have time for.
So much more.
So Mitchell, you sent me an armful of music in my inbox the other day.
Yeah.
So
I kept thinking of more. I forgot about the game corner from Pokemon Gold.
Oh, I love that.
That's such a banger.
So
Yes,
which
it
track
is.
would you like to
Let's
kick
do
off the bonus
Bomberman.
round with? Bomberman. All right. So this one I have is called Kings and Knights. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This is Kings and Knights from Bomberman's Second Attack, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda. that. You're listening to Kings and Knights from Bomberman 64 Second Attack for the N64, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda. I love this beat, man. This is killer. There's I did a whole episode on another podcast called the VG Embassy with Ed Wilson on just drum and bass music, because it's just one of my favorite things in the world is jungle music. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple tracks from Bomberman 64 in it, because it's so drum and bassy. It's fast and it's clicky and drummy. It's great.
I'm trying to remember, is Bomberman Second Attack the one where you also had elemental bombs?
Yeah, well, okay. So there's three Bomberman games on the N64. I've played Bomberman Hero, which is really different. I've played this one, but I've never played the first Bomberman 64, so I don't know if that has elemental bombs, but this one does.
The first one doesn't. The first one's claim to fame was you could like inflate your bombs, and they were mushroom cloud explosions. So if you drop
the first one to do that?
Yeah, it was, and that was also unfortunately why a lot of people didn't like it. I was not one of those people. I loved the game, but a lot of people didn't like the fact that it was like this open world exploration game, and your bombs weren't linear and their explosions. You know, in the normal games, it was always a cross pattern.
That's right. That's right. These were like they were like spherical
circles.
Yeah, so just spherical explosions. So the battle mode was like that too, where you were just in these open environments with blocks you could blow up. But when you threw bombs, like you basically would inflate this giant bomb and then throw it into the field, and this huge explosion just spreads out from the epicenter. And to me, that was fantastic. But a lot of people were like, "I want traditional Bomberman." Like, come on, man.
So, I've played a lot of Bomberman. I love Bomberman Tournament, which is a GBA game. I feel like no one's ever played that one.
I have it.
I'm
Heck
sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Got him. All right. Oh, it's so nice to hear other people. I love Carabobs. But Kings and Knights is a game mode that I have not seen in any other Bomberman game, where you can have like 2v2 or 1v3 or whatever, but there's like this sort of dummy that's a king and it has like a crown on it, and if it takes damage, then it loses a heart, but if it ever like dies, that's how you win the game. So you have to protect your own king while attacking your opponent's king, and one person can pick up their king and like run around with it. That's cool.
I've
never seen it before in any other game.
So it's almost like an RTS or something, where you're attacking the other player's base.
Yeah, kind of, I guess
That's
so.
cool.
But the base is a portable person that you can run around with.
We might have to mess around with that mode at some point.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I've never dabbled in it. I have the game at home.
Yeah, we were talking about Bomberman Online for the Dreamcast like a few weeks back, and that game is all mini games. Like there's a main like story mode, but like there's all these little like mini versus games.
Yeah, I think we were talking about the Splash one being the best one.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Mitchell?
I never. So my cousin gave me his Dreamcast, but he didn't have this one.
So
He had
what?
Sonic Shuffle.
So let's not talk about that abomination.
I want to try and figure that game out one day.
Your sanity will take a dive. But like the Splash mode in Bomberman Online was so think of like a tennis court. All right, there's a net in the middle, and you can't cross the net. And each side has a team of bombers on it, and you're all walking across water. If you drop a bomb in one spot on your side of the net, it goes under the water, under the net, and up on the exact opposite side where your bomb was placed. So it's like
that
pretty
sounds
much
incredible.
It's fantastic.
So you're like trying to keep track of like where they place the bombs on their side, and then mirror reversing it in your mind onto your side of the field at the same time. It's brain bending.
That sounds amazing.
The best way.
I love Bomberman battles.
And unfortunately, it's the only Bomberman that used that mode that I can recall.
It's really good. It's all 3D cell shaded, which is a great look for Bomberman. It was the first one with online mode. I mean, it was dial up, but it was online mode. It was great. All right, so we're gonna skip ahead to Purnell.
Okay, so and for the record, I'm going to state there is a bonus round track that is coming in the future. It will be glorious. But this one is immaculate just to sing. This track is another Kirbyism known as I think it's probably one of the most known Kirby mini games.
Is it Gourmet Race?
You know it's Gourmet Race.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Originated in Kirby Superstar, but this track is made to run across multiple Kirby games. So this is Gourmet Race, done up by our friends over at the Skytoon Network I'm not sure I want to say friends. I want to come on break. I was like, oh, no, you man.
I would love to have him on the show, and then he could become a friend.
That is very true.
I follow him on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. He seems like a cool guy.
Very awesome dude.
Yeah.
Last time I was on here, I posted his track for the Mii-chan.
Yeah, and I think that's how I learned about them.
Me too.
It's all because of me?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We're always learning about like new bands and stuff and like other people. And we're like, yeah, now I get involved and like I follow everything they do and I get notifications like when new stuff comes out. I just want to support everybody. And there's just a lot of people out there.
Welcome back. You just listened to the Gourmet Rush. I'm sorry, the Gourmet Rush. The Gourmet Race Skafied from our friends at the Skatoon Network, and originally from the Kirby series via the Gourmet Race minigame featured in Kirby Superstar. That was a lot of words. But
Skatoon Network, man.
So I love this track so much. I love Skatoon Network, and I think it's funny that I mentioned it a little bit earlier to you guys, but I didn't hear this track for the first time in Kirby Superstar. I didn't hear it until Super Smash Brothers when it was played on the Dreamland stage. I was like, oh my god, this is an awesome track they composed for this game. And I was like, wait, no, it's actually used from Kirby Superstar. So I ended up going back and playing it there later.
I love the speed of Kirby music. It's got like a lot of staccato, like little sections that always make me think of horns. So hearing it like in this like style is like perfect.
You should listen to the Rockstar music from Kirby 64 because that one pops.
Stop!
He knows.
Being awesome.
He knows it. He knows it.
Awesome. Yes.
I'm an N64 kid, so like I didn't know a bunch of the characters, and so I also associate the song more with the Dreamland stage. Also, it's Melee related. I'm actually an Ultimate player. If that wasn't clear, I love Melee, but I'm not good at it. But
They just did such a good job with Ultimate, though. Let's be honest. Like,
I was the former best King K. Rool main in Massachusetts.
Really?
Which means nothing, because I'm not anymore, and I'm just... I got 5th place once at a weekly, and that was like really legit. But I'm super inconsistent.
Hey, honestly, I'll take that over whatever the heck I am in Smash Bros. Like, how good are you pronounce? Like, I think Mega Man is cool. That's about as far as I get.
Mega Man's good.
Wait,
he messes me up super hard.
Rewind. Mega Man got better. I remember a piece of trash talk. I'm like, they didn't do a good job with him.
Ultimate, everyone is viable. Some characters are more viable than other characters, and some characters are just most viable. So Mega Man he's seen top level play. People have picked him. I'm from New England, so Mars has been trying to pick him up to beat MKLeo, the best player in the world. So yeah, Mega Man is legit.
That's what I like to hear. Give me Mega Man, Joker, the Splatoon Inkling, and I'm having a field day. And also,
King K. Rool.
King K. Rool. I remember the character reveal. People were losing
their
stuff
yeah.
over
Like,
Gangplank Galleon, oh my god!
I lost my stuff. I'm not even super duper attached to the character prior to Smash, but I was like, he's in! He's always deserved to be in. Now he's in. Also, I'm a huge Banjo fan. Now that Banjo's in, I don't care. You could put Fortnite in the game. I wouldn't even care.
Yes.
Banjo's in the game. I'm satisfied.
I'll be that guy. I think I'm one of the rare people that say this at this point with Smash Brothers, but when they set the precedence of just being like, we want to put as much in this as we can, I don't even feel bad. Like, people were like, they put Terry in. People were like, oh god, Terry. I'm like, no. You put any
Fatally Furious.
Yes. It's like, put every franchise in there if you can.
They stuck Ryu in there. Why not?
Yeah, I want to see everyone in there. It's impossible.
Nintendo versus Capcom versus SNK.
Yes.
I don't see why not.
Like, at this point, like, I want Ryu Boost in there. Like, it's like,
oh boy,
put all of, like, the NES greats. Like, if you put a franchise in the game, I'm happy with it.
Can they put like the little skinny guy from ice hockey?
What would his name be? Ice Hockey Man.
We called him the feeble meeple.
Oh god!
I want Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia and Travis Touchdown, but both of them are sword users, and I'm so tired of swords. But I love Lloyd.
I think wasn't like Lloyd Irving like someone they've been trying to champion for years? Like when they learned that Namco had a hand in it, it's like, oh my god, that means Lloyd can get in now.
He could. And Scott Menville said on Twitter that he's doing something exciting, but he can't say what. And so if he's back for Lloyd Irving and Smash, that I would have no words.
That would be a trip. Like right now, I think I want Shantae in the game. I'm one of those people that wants a Shantae character in the game.
Oh, why not?
I would be interested
She's
in seeing
a spirit.
Yeah, but they can break that mold.
Bimmy and Jimmy.
Bimmy and Jammy.
Bimmy and Jimmy from Double Dragon.
That would be an interesting character. They'd be like a hand-to-hand brawler. I don't think there's too many of those.
How do they put Mario and Luigi Mario?
No.
Are you talking about from the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What else are they from?
They brought back the ghost of... who played him?
Phillips CDI, Link.
God, no.
That'd be amazing.
Okay, I don't want every guy in there. But, like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, people were, like, complaining about Fortnite at one point. It's like, you don't want the Fortnite. I'm like, look, if that's a Fortnite character, bringing the Fortnite franchise into this game, by all means, do it. Put him in. That's just one more character that someone can say, I like this game. Yeah. Is there a representative? There is, and they can use them.
There's a lot more balancing in the game, too, right? It's going to change the way the whole game goes.
It is surprisingly so balanced, despite the fact that it is going to get over 100 characters.
But there's something like nice about it. I think I remember reading a thing where Sakurai was like, this is my final project that was given to me by Iwata, so I want to make it the best thing possible. Mm-hmm. And it's just...
And we all clutched our hearts.
Yes. It's like, crap, there goes that heart. There's that tugging of the heartstring again. It hurts. Mm. But it's so good.
Well, thank you for listening to Rhythm and Pixels, episode 20-4, Minigames with Mitchell Wong. What do you think, Pernell? You're looking at me funny.
I am, because there's a lot of traditional steps that haven't been taken.
Oh, you're right.
You got to leave that in there too.
Oh wow, yeah. Anyway, if you would like more information on the bonus round part of our show, go to rhythmandpixels.com and we'll have links to Bandcamps and SoundClouds and everywhere where you can buy the music and support the artists. Thanks for joining us on episode 20-4 of Rhythm and Pixels. We're talking about mini games with Mitchell Wong.
And what an episode. This has been a fantastic episode filled with great music. I love it. This is the second time Mitchell's come on the show, and it's just been a bevy of words, dialogue. Like, we've been making Rob work overtime to keep the pacing of this episode going. Because it's been a lot of fun talking.
Yeah, I do have to get up super early, so but yeah, we're just trying to keep a little bit of pace here. But so Mitchell, you have anything more you want to say about Kine, the new game coming out this Thursday?
Yeah, so Kine comes out October 17th on Epic Games Store, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and it eventually will be a launch title for Google Stadia in November.
Oh, cool.
The Bandcamp is going to be up maybe a day before, but I'm doing a giveaway on Twitter at MWong Audio. That's MWong Audio because Mitchell Wong Audio is too long. So if you follow me, like and retweet my pinned posts, then you can enter to win one of 3 keys and the soundtrack. So that is something that I am doing.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. We'll have links to those to that on the website.
And probably even post it in like Rhythm and Pixels chat.
Yeah, we'll post it.
Or on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll be posting it through our social media channels, and it'll also be on the podcast description. So if you scroll through your phone or wherever you're listening on, you'll see it right there.
Everywhere your eyeballs can peep it.
Well, if you'd like to get in contact with the show, if you want to say hi, if you have any track suggestions or even topic suggestions, please send us an email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
For a full track listing of all of our episodes and access to all of our episodes and links to everything else that we're doing, go to the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
And then you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word. Usually youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. We have all of our episodes being uploaded there. And there's also a 24/7 radio station playing nothing but 8-bit, 16-bit classics and deep cuts playing all day long right there on YouTube. And if you'd like to support the show, it's easy. Just subscribe or say hi.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends about it. Or
put it on a USB stick, throw it in a bottle, and toss it in the ocean.
Yeah, burn it to its disc and then throw it out your car window, and hopefully it lands somewhere.
I told a composer friend that because you picked some of their music, it was Wilmot. It was a cleaning game.
Wilmot's Warehouse.
Yeah,
my friend did the music for that. So I was like, oh yeah, your music was featured on this podcast.
We love that, man. That was
so good.
We talked so good about that game.
Wilmot's Warehouse is an addiction.
But you can also go to patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. There you get access to a live streamed recording of our episode once a month. And we also give you a shout out at the end of every episode. So we'd like to thank That Nick Walker, Mike Myers, Phantom Jest, Steve Miller, Autistic Gamer 89, Cameron Worma, Christopher Shenstrom, Bobby Arson of One Up Funk, Wicked Sephiroth, OK Impala, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast, who we're going to see next week.
Yes.
Or talking to next week, because he's very far away. Brian Pitt, Chris Murray, what's up? Ed Wilson from the VG Embassy, Alexander Proudfoot, Davy Cakes,
Love that name.
Dude, or The Dude, Duderito, or the Duder, The Last Rican, Bed Roth, Jupiter Jazz, Soulless Sanctuary, Damian Beckles, Joe Vasallo, Chris Steenerson, Alex, The Messenger, and David Smith. David, I second guess myself every time. But thank you all very, very much. Thank you so much for your support of the show.
And remember,
keeps us going.
The Patreon episode, just as a reminder, the topic for you guys, if you're submitting tracks this month, Spooky Tunes.
Spooky Tunes. We'll give a reminder a week before the episode comes out. But we are looking for scary tracks, maybe not necessarily scary music, but from scary games. Maybe not necessarily scary games,
or
but
just scary for you.
Something scary happened while you were playing the game.
That one Resident Evil song in the basement where all the instruments are wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You know about?
I don't, but honestly, now I want you to send a link or something.
I will send you a link.
I want to hear this.
Well, anyway, thank you all for listening to the show. Thank you, Mitchell, again for joining us this evening.
It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for having me. I have so much fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. Even if you're not promoting a game coming out, we'd love to have you back.
Just let me know.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Like
I'm
we have
there.
Mitchell on. He's promoting his new chili recipe.
No, we're doing a Smash Brothers episode.
Ooh.
We have to.
Oh boy, I'm there for that.
Mitchell would be the perfect guest for it. We were actually talking about, because we've been intentionally kind of avoiding any Smash Brothers tracks for ages now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels like there's so much music in there that there's like multiple episodes we could do just for Smash
I think
Brothers.
we need additional experts to get involved in this one.
Oh,
so.
I love Smash so much. Oh my god, Megalovania's in Smash now. What is life?
That flipped me out. And it's a really good remix of it, too. It's not just like the flat version.
All right, well, you have that to look forward to, though. All right, well, thanks to everyone for listening to the show, Rhythm and Pixels. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Purnell.
Thank you, and have a great night.
And remember, oh my God. So the idea of trying and failing, it's a hefty one to be sure. And there's a lot of fear in failure that people unfortunately succumb to when it comes down to attempting to perform or pull off activities or dreams or goals. But one thing that can be said is that trying can lead to failure, but then failure can learn two lessons which can be applied to another attempt until you eventually get it right. And one thing that I can honestly say, I actually kind of meant to use this like in the last week's episode, or actually in the future episode, but at the end of the day, if you don't try, you'll never succeed. If you do try, you have a chance of succeeding, and you clearly don't know what your odds are until you put it to use. I mean, like, I'm trying to lose weight. I didn't try up until recently, and what do you know? I'm losing weight. There are people who just throw their name out there and make a bunch of wacky comments, and now they're well known for making wacky comments. I mean, we did a podcast. I mean, you can do it. You just have to try and not be too concerned about the potentials of not succeeding, and just be interested in having fun trying or giving it a go, because you don't know until you do. And that's all I got to say.